Hi everyone, I hope you're happy and well. Today I'm going to be making a video about two very important inventions. The first is the telephone and the second is the television. Dun, 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 dun. So, I'm going to talk about these inventions, talk about who invented them and how they have changed throughout the years. So before I begin, I'll say that the two men who invented the telephone and the television were both from where I am from. They were both Scottish. Alexander Graham Bell. Alexander Graham Bell was born in Edinburgh, the capital of Scotland, in 1847. He invented many things, but he is best known for inventing the telephone in 1876. He died in 1922. The telephone has changed a lot since it was first invented by Alexander Graham Bell in 1876. The photograph at the top left shows the very first telephone. How is this telephone different from the telephones we have now? Well, firstly, it was very big and very heavy and also very expensive. It cost a lot of money. The photograph on the bottom right shows phones from the early 1900s. So about 20 or 30 years after this telephone. They have a separate part for speaking and for listening. They still look very different from the telephones we have now. In the 1950s, the telephones changed again. They became smaller and lighter. So they weren't as heavy, they didn't weigh as much. Nowadays, many telephones are like this. They are wireless. That means they don't have a wire at the back. You can pick them up and move around with them and go wherever you want. Phones are no longer just for making calls. You can do lots of different things on a phone. Here's a smartphone. You can go on the internet, you can play games, you can do many things, not just make calls and send messages. Now we're moving on to the second inventor, John Logie Baird. John Logie Baird was born in 1888 in a place called Helensburgh in Scotland. He invented a lot of things, like Alexander Graham Bell, but he is best known for inventing the television in 1924. The photograph in the top left shows one of the first televisions, and sitting next to it is John Logie Baird, the man who invented the television. The photograph on the bottom right shows the very first moving image on television. The face belongs to the friend of John Logie Baird, a man called Oliver Hutchinson. Later on, John Logie Baird would invent colour television as well, because as you've noticed, the image is black and white. There isn't any colour. Just like the telephone, the television has changed a lot since it was first invented in 1924. The first television was very large and very heavy. People could only watch TV in black and white. The image wasn't in colour. The television only had a small screen. Look how small the screen is in comparison to the rest of the television. And there wasn't any remote control. The people had to stand up and press a button if they wanted to change the channel. Later on, the TV got smaller and lighter, and the TV screen got bigger. Now, the image wasn't in black and white anymore, it was in colour. A lot of people could now buy TVs because they were cheaper. They weren't as expensive. This meant that many people had a TV in their homes in the 1970s. Nowadays, many people have TVs that have large screens, they're much bigger, and that show very clear, colourful images. People don't stand up to change the channel because they can use a remote control to change the channel, or even their own mobile phone. People use their TVs not just to watch TV anymore, they can watch YouTube and Netflix. And some people can even use them to play games or call friends. So like the telephone, the TV has changed a lot over the years.